Yes, welcome everyone. It's Cannabis News. I'm your host, Joe Klare. It's December 6th, 2019. The show, as always, is presented by the Marijuana Times. MarijuanaTimes.org is where you can find us. Of course, you can find me on Twitter if you want to contact me. It's StonerJesus420. I'm on there all the time. Probably too much. Not probably. Definitely too much. But I do what I can. MakeCannabisGreatAgain.com, of course, for the swag. Today we're talking about stories out of Missouri and Illinois. Before we get to all of those, first, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides grow safe and poison-free with Natureside. Don't use banned pesticides or harmful chemicals. Instead, use Natureside. Nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Thank you, Natureside, for your continued awesomeness. This first story by Julia Granowitz at MarijuanaTimes.org. Missouri medical marijuana program sees more patients than expected. The state has already issued a total of 21,879 medical marijuana ID cards since they started the process on July 4th. Researchers from the University of Missouri didn't expect to see anywhere close to this number until 2021, estimating that by then the state might reach 22,500 registered patients. Now, a new estimate from the Missouri Medical Cannabis Trade Association says there could be more than 122,000 registered patients by the end of 2022. We have always predicted that the numbers would be far larger than the MU economic study predicted, said Dan Vietz, who leads the Missouri Cannabis Industry Association. A spokesman for the said association, or for the Missouri Medical Cannabis Trade Association, said their estimate is based on trends in states like Colorado, where 2 to 3% of the population receive medical marijuana cards after legalization. The MU economics study was based on an amalgamation of a bunch of different medical marijuana programs, kind of shoehorning them all into one when they're all vastly different. And it points out a couple things and highlights a couple things that I've said for quite a while. First of all, projections and estimates, even under the best of circumstances, even when you've had decades of consumer data and consumer trends reports and things like that to look back on, even then predicting what people are going to do, what customers are going to want, when they're going to want it, and how they're going to want it, is almost impossible. But to do it with no background whatsoever right out of the gate is the height of hubris, if you will. To pretend that you're going to know how many people are going to use marijuana, how many are going to have medical marijuana cards, how many are going to smoke this, they're going to vape this, they're going to edible this, how many people are going to do each, when they're going to do it, how much they're going to buy it per stop. You don't know any of that. None of it. None of that data is available. Estimates are useless. Tax projections, things like that, that's why they're all useless as well. They're way high, they're way low, because nobody knows. And another reason, when we talked about Missouri last time, I believe, they're setting, there's a certain number of dispensaries, certain number of cultivators, a certain number of, manufacturers and testers and testing labs. They set those numbers based on projections that they made, but what if those projections are way off? Then there's either too many, there's not enough. That's why politicians can't plan an economy. That's why it's impossible. It's not a plug and play thing. You just adjust some numbers and everything's good. Even entrepreneurs who do those things, they're often wrong. How often are government bureaucrats and officials who know absolutely nothing about the business world to begin with, how are they going to predict all of these things that need to be predicted in order to keep supply where it's supposed to be at the right time? It's impossible. It's impossible, and it always ends up either in surpluses or, more likely, shortages, because they always underestimate, as in this case, the demand that people are, how much marijuana people are looking for. People like marijuana. They're going to do what they can to try to buy it legally. And I don't know what's hard to understand about that. It's a popular product. It's a popular commodity. People like marijuana. I'm not spilling state secrets here. People like marijuana. So if you have more of it for sale, it's likely going to help. The next couple of stories are based out of Chicago. This first one's from ABC 7 Chicago. It's an update on a story we did 6-8 weeks ago, whenever it was. Mayor Lightfoot seeks discretion for CHA residents using pot. Now, it was this says a few weeks ago. I guess, was it only a few weeks ago? I don't know. A few weeks ago, the city announced a public service campaign called Cannabis Facts Chicago for those who plan on using recreational marijuana. I'm on the wrong story. That's the problem. Here's the whole problem whatsoever. I'm on the wrong story. I'm reading the wrong story. I'm showing you the right story. I'm reading the wrong story. I do believe that's the first time that's ever happened. I don't ever remember another instance of that. We'll pretend it didn't. I could go back and re-record this, but I'm not going to. I'm leaving it in. I'm trying to give the illusion of live broadcasting here, so I just record it in one continuous stream and don't cut anything out. And when things go wrong, I tend to harp on it and highlight it even more and point it out even more, like I'm doing right now. We're coming up to the next story. First, the actual story I'm showing you, Mayor Lightfoot seeks discretion for CHA residents using pot. Take two. So that public housing residents aren't evicted, Mayor Lori Lightfoot is advising the Chicago Housing Authority. Let's try that again. Chicago Housing Authority to bring clarity around an impending. Boy, I'm off. I'm off the rails. Center. The Chicago Housing Authority to bring clarity around the impending conflict between state and federal laws on the use of recreational marijuana. There we go. Now we got it kicked in again. While recreational marijuana becomes legal in Illinois starting in January, it remains prohibited under federal law. Earlier this month, the CHA put out a strongly worded notice, and I believe this story is from November. It is. So early in November. Strongly worded notice to public housing residents and Section 8 voucher holders, informing them that the marijuana use won't be allowed in properties even after recreational use becomes legal in Illinois. The aforementioned story that we talked about a few weeks ago, that this story is an update to CHA told residents a violation means termination of housing if the tenant, another household member, or a guest is found using or possession of marijuana. The notice also said the agency doesn't require a conviction or an arrest to proceed with termination. CHA said the federal law supersedes state law. WBEZ obtained a letter Lightfoot wrote to James Bebley, acting CEO of CHA. Quote, while federal law prohibits marijuana use or possession on CHA property, it gives CHA latitude and discretion in how it handles applicants and residents who are found to be using or possessing marijuana. CHA's policies demonstrate that discretion, but CHA's communications to residents should be updated to also reflect that discretion and the legalization of recreational marijuana statewide. Specifically, I urge CHA to provide guidance that clearly explains its policies, mindful of residents' significant interest in remaining in CHA housing. In other words, she wants them to use discretion and not kick people who use marijuana legally out of their homes, even though federally, under federal law, they could. She would rather that they did not do that, and this is her attempt to kind of persuade them in that direction. Now, this next story. The Chicago Police Department releases marijuana facts video on where you can and can't smoke. Recreational marijuana will become legal in Illinois, as we just mentioned, on January 1st. But that doesn't mean you can spark up anywhere. Some cities have voted to ban the sale and use of recreational marijuana for their residents. Recreational marijuana will be legal in Chicago. However, Mayor Lightfoot approved an ordinance to prohibit the sale and use of marijuana downtown. Chicago Police Department has released a new social video detailing the places where it will still be illegal to consume marijuana around the city. This video is courtesy of the Chicago Police Department and their Facebook page.
Starting January 1st, 2020, under new state law, it will be legal to possess and use small amounts of cannabis in the state of Illinois. I'm here to walk you through what you can and cannot do under the new law. Under the new law, adults aged 21 years of age and older will be able to legally purchase and possess up to 30 grams of cannabis leaf, 5 grams of cannabis concentrate, and 500 milligrams of cannabis-infused products. The only place to legally purchase cannabis or THC products is at an authorized licensed business. Private sales are prohibited. Remember, growing cannabis is still illegal. Only medical cannabis card holders can grow up to 5 plants.
You can legally consume cannabis or THC-infused products within your private residence or designated areas within businesses licensed for cannabis or THC consumption. Remember, landlords and property owners can ban cannabis use and consumption within their properties, so please be sure to check ahead of time. You cannot legally consume cannabis or THC-infused products in motor vehicles, on CTA property, including buses and trains, on school grounds, in restaurants or bars, or in any public place, which means any place where a person can reasonably be expected to be observed by others, such as streets, sidewalks, parks, playgrounds, or front porches. When transporting cannabis or THC-infused products in a motor vehicle, please be sure to place them in a sealed, odor-proof, child-resistant container that is reasonably inaccessible in the vehicle.
Anyone found in violation of the new ordinance will be issued a citation or subject to other enforcement action. As we move into the new year, we ask all adults who choose to legally purchase cannabis products do so in a safe and responsible manner in order to ensure the public safety of all Chicago residents.
So not a lot surprising there as far as where you can and can't smoke and such. The lack of homegrown obviously is a disappointment in Illinois. Something activists there has to continue to work on. But, it's coming soon. I mean, it's right around the corner, right after the holidays. Illinois legalization and the beginning of sales. Things will be slow, obviously, as they are everywhere else, as we're seeing right now in Michigan and other places where recreational legalization has been rolled out. Continue to update you on those stories and others right here at Cannabis News. It's the end of the week. Go enjoy your weekend. Be safe. All of that jazz. Make sure you check us out at marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab there. Of course, find us on YouTube as well. Audio podcast can be found on Apple Podcasts. Thanks everybody for sharing, liking, commenting on the videos, using this show to spread the truth about cannabis. Thank you for watching and listening today, and we'll see you next week right here on Cannabis News.